Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So we are from Group 5 SCQS2013 Probability and Statistics. We'll be presenting our survey or study about the Instagram use and mental health. Before we start, let me introduce you our team members. So firstly, we have me, Ahmad Danial bin NORAZLAN with metric number 284366, and then we have Muhammad MAZUQI ADHA bin Muhammad MADLAN 285215, and next we have Muhammad ALIF bin Muhammad IBRAHIM with metric number 287814, and then lastly we have Muhammad HADIF bin SHUHAIMI with metric number 287852.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Muhammad Hadi bin SHUHAIMI. My metric number is 287852. We'll be presenting about introduction of our math project. So many of us today rely on social media platform, especially Instagram, to find and connect with each other. While it has its benefits, it is important to remember that social media can never replace real world human connection. So spending too much time engaging with social media can actually make us feel more lonely and isolated. So in this study, we have conducted a sample survey to investigate Instagram use and its impact towards Malaysians' mental health. It is hoped that we can conclude how can Instagram impact people's mental health for us to reduce the chances of people having problems with mental health. These are all objectives for our math project. The first one is to investigate the relationship between the activeness of users toward Instagram use, self-esteem, the fear of missing out, as well as social comparison with depression. The second one is to analyze the results of all variables with box plot to find the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and outliers. Following the to construct the multiple regression model to visualize the findings. The next one is to perform hypothesis testing to study the relationship between the independent variables and dependent variable. And the last one is to discuss the findings and how they are related to the real world scenario. So here are the two things. So the first one is the target test sample. So our target population is Malaysian citizens. Our target sample is 52, and our target age group divided into three types, which is range 70 to 20, 21 to 24, and 25 to 29. The second one is a sampling approach. We use a simple random sampling. 52 respondents were randomly selected based on questionnaire from our Google Forms. So for the next presentation, we will move on with the next member.
Greetings to Madam. I am Alif and I'll be explaining about the mean score of active user. In this slide, we have the bar chart and the table of the mean score, and we can see that the maximum is the score 2, where 100 people chose the category of rarely, and only 26 people chose the score of 1, which is never. We'll move on to the next slide, which is the data that we get after we calculate it using Excel, and from there we can get the mean of 2.914, and the box plot here we can see that the median is 3, and the upper quartile here is 3.29, and the lower quartile is 2.5. And the maximum the maximum number is at 4.667, and lowest is at 1.333, and we don't have any outliers there. You move on to the mean score of passive user. The data here as shown in the bar chart, and the maximum choose score of 2 with 80 people chose it, and the minimum chose the score of 1, which they choose the category never with 18 people only choose it. And over here we can see the data of the mean score of passive user, in which the mean is 3.17, and the upper quartile is 3.75 in the box plot, and the median is 3.2, and the lower quartile is 2.76, and we can see here that there is no outliers. Let's move on to the mean score of Instagram contingent southwards. We have the bar charts here are slightly like the wavy ocean. The number 4 here are the most people chose it, with 68 people chose the score of 4, which is agree, and the lowest is 12. which is the strongly agree category with the score of 5. Over here, we can see the mean score of Instagram contingent self-worth. We have the data calculated by Excel. We have the mean 2.9519, and over in the back box plot, we have the 3 as the median, and 3.5 as the upper quartile, and 2.06 as the lower quartile. And yeah, we don't have any outliers here. There's no dots in the box plot. And lastly, from me, is a mean score of fear of missing out, where we have the people chose the neutral, which 62 people chose it, and the lowest is the score of 5, which is of 12 people only chose that. And we move on to the mean score of fear of missing out data. We have here is the mean, which is 2.67, and the median in the box, but you can see that there's a line in the box 2.6667, and the upper quartile above that is the 3, and the lower quartile is 2. And we have here the outliers, apparently number of 5 there, because you can see the dot of 5 there.
So next, we'll be looking out for the mean score of social comparison scale or income of the bar chart. So as you can see, for the category strongly disagree, we get a frequency of 37. Disagree, we get 39. Neutral, we get 191. Agree, we get 118. And the strongly agree, we got frequency of 43. So next, for the descriptive statistic and also box plot of the income, we get the mean of 3.11, and the standard error is 0.11. The median is 3, mode is 3. For the largest is 4.978, and the smallest is the 1.11. So as you can see in the box plot, there is no outliers that are available in this category. Next, the bar chart for the mean score of Center Epidemiologic Studies Depression, or this CESD. So in this category, rarely or none of the time less than 1 day, the frequency is 206. And then for the category of some or a little of the time, 1 to 2 days, the frequency is 417. Occasionally or a moderate amount of time, 3 to 4 days, the frequency is 301. And for the last one of category, most or all of the time, 5 to 7 days, we get a frequency of 110. For the descriptive statistic of CESD, we get the mean of 2.31, and then the standard error is 0.07. Median is 2.225. Mode is 2.2, and then the standard deviation is 0.50. And then we get the minimum equals to 1, maximum is 3.35. So as you can see in the box plot of CESD, there is no outliers. So next, we'll be discussing about the multiple regression model. So in this model, we'll be using the CESD as the dependent variable, and for the independent variable, we'll be using active user, passive user, self-worth, FOMO, and income. So in this summary output, we have the R square, which is equal to 0.506, and then we have the ANOVA table here. So for the F value, we have the 9.4325. So for the P value of each variable, for the active user is 0.179, and the passive user is 0.04992, and the self-worth is 0.567. And in for the FOMO, we have a 0.022, and the income is 0.063. For the estimated regression equation, so we'll be getting the CESD equals to 1.369 plus 0.174 for the active user, minus 0.224 for the passive user, minus 0.165 for the self-worth, plus 0.257 for the FOMO, and lastly we plus 0.302 for the income. For the multiple coefficient of determination, we get the answer for the R square, which equal to 0.5062, and then for the adjusted multiple coefficient of determination, we get the R n squared, which equals to 0.4525. So for the scatter plot, so here we can see that the active user and the self-worth is have the p-value above 0.05, which means that they are not significant to be the independent variable for this SD. So for the passive user FOMO and income, we can see that the p-value is lesser than 0.05, so which means that they are significant independent variable for this SD.
Hello, my name is MAZUQI MADLAN and my result number is 285-215. So today I will be presenting about hypothesis testing, the F-test first. For the significant F value we got 9.4338, and for the degree of freedom numerator regression we got 5. For degree freedom numerator retrieval we got 46, and for F critical value is 9.4325. Thus it is big than alpha value, and then reject null hypothesis. Next, it is the t-test for active user, and the t-value here we got 1.3652, and the alpha value here we assume 0.05, and the p-value we got 0.1790. Thus it is bigger than the alpha value, and we do not reject the null hypothesis. Thus no significant relationship exists between active Instagram user score and the Center Epidemiology Study Depression. So for the t-test passive user, we got t-value as negative 2.0134, and the alpha value here we assume as 0.05, and the p-value we got is 0.04992, and it is lower than alpha value, thus we reject the null hypothesis. A significant relationship exists between passive Instagram user score and Center Epidemiology Study Depression. Next, it is for self-worth. So the t-value here we got negative 1.9551, and we assume alpha value as 0.05, and the p-value we get here is 0.0566, and it is bigger than the alpha value, then we do not reject the null hypothesis. Thus, no significant relationship exists between Instagram contingent self-worth score and Center Epidemiology Study Depression. And the next one is FOMO. And the t-value we get here is 3.2472, and the alpha value here we assume as 0.05 again, and the p-value we get here 0.0022, and it is lower than the alpha value, thus we reject null hypothesis. A significant relationship exists between fear of missing out FOMO score and Center Epidemiology Study Depression. And the last one is income. So the t-value for this test we got 2.8636, and the alpha value assumed as 0.05, and the p-value we get here is 0.0063, and it is lower than alpha value, thus we reject null hypothesis. A significant relationship exists between social comparison scale score and the Center Epidemiology Study Depression.
So basically, for our results and discussions that we have made based on our respondents that we have analyzed, first one is a majority of 63.5% respondents are between the ages of 17 to 20. The second one is a majority of 80.8% respondents are full-time students, while the majority of 50% respondents have more than 400 followers. Moving on to the fourth one, which is the majority of 74.5% respondents' Instagram accounts are private, following by the active Instagram user, and fear of missing out, or called as FOMO, have outliers based on our box plot. So from our box plot overall, it causes our results to become statistically significant as the box plot increase the variability of our data. For the results and discussions for our two different type of tests, which is the F-test and the T-test. The F-test overall, a significant relationship exists between the dependent variable and the set of all the independent variables. The T-test for 5 different items, only 3 items that have a significant relationship exist, which is the passive Instagram user, the fear of missing out, FOMO, and social comparison scale, income. While the rest, the 2 items is no significant relationship exists, which is the active Instagram user and the Instagram contingent self-worth. Last but not least, we're moving on to the key findings therefore, which is the first one is the user personal information. Moving on to the frequency. Next one is the frequency of respondents performing a few sorts of activities on Instagram. Next one is the percentage of respondents who agree with various types of statements. And then last one is the experience in a few occurrences. So that's all from me. Thank you.